Ready?
Set.
Go! Welcome to the first of our Lighthouse series here on the L27 Films, where we're going to be going to a lot of different lighthouses all around Ontario, like this one here at 9 Mile Point. I'm Cameron, and that is Charlotte behind the camera. And now over to VoiceOver Cameron for some history on that lighthouse. Thanks in-person Cameron, but before we talk history, let's talk about our journey getting to this lighthouse. Leaving from Toronto was an almost 3-hour drive down the 401. When we finally got to Kingston, it was getting dark outside. We found a hotel right beside the ferry ramp and called it a night. In the morning, we took some time taking in the view from our hotel and even got to see the ferry that would take us to our first island. We then decided to go get food. On our way, I'm dying. Thanks, McDonald's. We're currently on the way to the ferry, the first ferry, the Kingston to Wolfe Island ferry, which leaves in 25 minutes, and we're 8 minutes away, so we should be good. No. It turned out 8 minutes was more than enough time, and we soon found ourselves in a lineup of cars being ushered onto the Wolfe Islander 3. I wish I could tell you all about the amazing sights on our ferry ride, but the only thing I could see was the back of a Volvo. Wow, there's trees over there, so I think we're almost here. I don't know though, I can't see anything. But yeah, there's trees, so we should be here. After about 25 minutes, the ramp came down and we took our first look at Wolfe Island. The island was much bigger than we originally thought, with lots of windy roads, farm fields, and even the small town of Marysville, which has a population of 1,400 according to Wikipedia, in case anyone was wondering. But we weren't here for Marysville, we were here to catch another ferry just outside of town. Drive straight on, or? All right. Good, how are you? Here, keep the change.
Okay, I'll have to get your ticket on the way back. I'll get your change then.
Oh, don't worry about the change, that's all right. Yeah, thank you. This was the ferry between Wolfe and Simcoe Island. It was a lot smaller than the last one and could probably only hold a few cars. It was also a cable ferry, meaning there's a wire underwater that pulls the ferry along. Well, we've made it to the smallest, tiniest, well, not smallest island ever, but this is weird. A little gravel road. Man brought his little ferry over. It was a weird experience, but we're here, and there's a lighthouse. There isn't a single paved road on the island, just some long straight gravel roads. The journey from the ferry ramp to the southwesternmost point, where the lighthouse sits, took us about 10 minutes to reach. There wasn't much to see on the way there, just a lot of fields and a surprising amount of big rocks. It is. Finally, we were here, which means it's time for some nice drone shots and the history. In 1803, the Parliament of Upper Canada, which today is basically Southern Ontario, were ready to build the province's first 3 lighthouses. The locations chosen were Gibraltar Point, Mississauga Point, and Simcoe Island. Mississauga Point was built in 1804, Gibraltar Point in 1808. But it wasn't until 1833 that 9 Mile Point Lighthouse was built, after a petition from sailors on Lake Ontario was read in Parliament. When it was finally completed, the lighthouse stood 40 feet tall and produced a fixed white light. The name 9 Mile Point came from the fact the lighthouse was 9 miles from Kingston's harbour. In 1873, a 1,000-pound fog bell was added that the keeper had to wind up by hand during fog and snow. This was later replaced by a steam foghorn in 1892, which went off every 30 seconds for 8 seconds as needed. The light and lens were eventually replaced, and to this day flashes a white light every 10 seconds. The last keeper retired in 1987. The lighthouse was declared a federal heritage building in 1989. The foghorn was silenced in 1991, and the keeper's dwellings were sold off soon after. Today, the lighthouse sits on private property and is looked after by the 9 Mile Point Preservation Society. After visiting the lighthouse, we started our journey back to Kingston, with a few stops along the way.
Literally right beside the car.
Oh, there's a bunch crossing over there.
It turns out Simcoe Island has a vast deer population, probably due to the lack of people on the island.
It's so cool.
Further up the road, we came upon what looked like an old abandoned schoolhouse, and I knew immediately what I had to do. Taking a page out of my favorite book and website, Accidentally Wes Anderson, where people try and take photos that are in the style of Wes Anderson, I tried my luck and, well, here's the result. Anyways, another ferry ride back to Wolf Island, and this time we came across Big Sandy Bay Conservation Area. A quick 15-minute walk from the car, and you find yourself staring at a super long sandy beach, which I'm sure is nice in the summer. There was also a weird bench, and well, here's more photos. After having a staring contest with the snake, we headed back to Kingston. Kingston, Ontario is a city of 136,000 people, with so much to see and do it could be its own video. With daylight running out though, we decided to have a look at a unique art gallery. Martello Alley started life as your average alley, but owner David has spent the last 7 years transforming it into a French village with art in every nook and cranny. At the end of the alley sits the art gallery, where inside paintings, sculptures, and all sorts of things from local artists are waiting to be sold. After our tour of the alley and our chat with David was done, we headed back out on the road one last time to watch the sunset from the best view in Kingston. One walk up a big hill later and we were there. This is Fort Henry, built originally during the War of 1812, and, you know, let's just enjoy the sunset. Enough history for today. A simple plan to go see an old lighthouse turned into 2 days worth of fun and adventure. Ontario is full of lighthouses, and we plan on seeing them all. Until next time, I'm Cameron, with me is Charlotte, and we'll see you at the next one.